After the car accident, I was stuck in the car seat, covered in blood, in so much pain I was about to lose consciousness. Gathering my last ounce of strength, I hit the emergency call button. My phone automatically connected to my emergency contact, my boyfriend, Robert. But the moment it connected, it severed the only thread of hope I had left. "Sarah, I told you, I'm doing an experiment tonight. Don't call and bother me." His indifferent tone pierced me, stealing my breath. "No, my weak plea was interrupted by a sweet voice. "Come quickly, Robert. The project needs you to lead the charge." That was Jessica, Robert's direct junior in the lab. Robert brushed me off. "I'm really busy right now. Be reasonable." He didn't give me a chance to say more. The call ended abruptly. After the car accident, I was stuck in the car seat, covered in blood, in so much pain I was about to lose consciousness. Gathering my last ounce of strength, I hit the emergency call button. My phone automatically connected to my emergency contact, my boyfriend, Robert. But the moment it connected, it severed the only thread of hope I had left. "Sarah, I told you, I'm doing an experiment tonight. Don't call and bother me. Do you have ears just to ignore what I say?" His indifferent tone pierced me, stealing my breath. "No, my weak plea was interrupted by a sweet voice. Come quickly, Robert. The project needs you to lead the charge." Sarah is so clingy. She doesn't give you any personal space. It's suffocating. That was Jessica, Robert's direct junior in the lab. Having lost so much blood, I didn't have the energy to argue. I took 2 shaky breaths, almost begging, "Robert, I was in a car accident. That's enough, Sarah. Don't be dramatic." Robert brushed me off. "I'm really busy right now. Be reasonable." He didn't give me a chance to say more. The call ended abruptly. No matter how many times I tried to call, the phone wouldn't connect. After a little while longer, my phone died, and the screen went black. In that moment, I stared numbly at the pitch-black night sky, crushed by despair, struggling to breathe. My thoughts grew hazy. I completely lost consciousness. I never expected that when I opened my eyes again, I would have completely forgotten everything about Robert. Heaven ultimately had mercy on me. When I managed to drag my broken body out of the car, I passed out on the road. Luckily, I was found by a fisherman who took me to the hospital. That's how I narrowly survived. When I woke up, my whole body ached. Facing me was Emily, her eyes red as a rabbit's. "Thank God, Sal. You were in a coma for 3 whole days. You're finally awake." My mind was still foggy. Then I heard her change tack and start cursing. "That damn Robert. He's absolutely outrageous. He hasn't shown his face since your accident. That piece of garbage boyfriend should just be thrown away." "Boyfriend?" I blinked blankly. Stop messing around. When did I get a boyfriend?" Emily fell silent instantly. She stared at me, her lips trembling, her expression growing tense. "Sal, don't scare me." "Huh? You're the one who's scaring me." I tried hard to remember, but there was nothing in my mind about a so-called boyfriend. "Stop it, Em. I don't know any Robert." "Who is he?" I felt my slowly beating heart, completely calm. "He must be a stranger I don't know." After confirming this, I looked at Emily with complete composure. But she looked as if she'd been startled, falling straight off the sofa. "Damn it, this is serious. Sal, you weren't shocked into being stupid, were you?" After the doctor's diagnosis, I wasn't stupid, just suffering from amnesia. It was due to a blood clot in the back of my brain. It wasn't at the stage requiring surgery yet, but I had to be very careful during recovery. Emily gripped the medical report, gritting her teeth. "That Robert is a jinx to you. Look how much you've suffered because of him." Tears streamed down her face as she spoke. Then she shook her head, her expression complex. "You barely got your life back. Don't fall into that pit again." I frowned and pouted. No, no, I won't. A deadbeat like him who doesn't care about his girlfriend's life isn't even worth recycling. Just moments ago, I had been holding my phone, wanting to confirm if I really had a boyfriend. Thanks to the built-in recording feature, I heard a rescue call that had been ignored. I was stunned. Was my pre-amnesia self out of her mind? How could I have been so blind as to fall for a man like that? Emily was so angry she wanted to punch someone. Sal, I'm telling you right now, if you're stupid enough to get tangled up with Robert again, we're done being friends. I quickly waved my hands. I'm not a masochist. How could I ever like someone like that? Emily sneered. You'd better remember what you said today. As if afraid I'd have another lapse in judgment. She told me everything about the things I'd forgotten. According to her, I was a complete doormat. Even though I knew Robert was an unmovable ice block and was messing around with his junior, I stubbornly pursued him. She'd warned me countless times, but I was dead set on Robert. I wouldn't stop until I hit a wall. I listened in disbelief. There are plenty of guys out there. Why would I ever want anything to do with that cursed jerk? Don't worry, I'll run the other way whenever I see him from now on. I spoke too soon. I actually ran into my so-called boyfriend. That day I was doing physical therapy at home. Emily was at her part-time job and wasn't there. That's when Robert barged in. Why are you avoiding me and no T answering my calls? He frowned, his tone cold as ice. Just because I didn't respond that night, you intentionally pulled the stunt? Sarah, can you stop being so childish? I frowned, looking at the unfamiliar man in front of me. White shirt, wire-rimmed glasses, exuding an academic aura. So this was the legendary Robert. He was the one who hung up my emergency call and almost got me killed. I had only contacted him when the accident happened. But it took him 6 whole days to remember me, his girlfriend. What a jerk. How could I have ever been attracted to a man like this? Clearing my thoughts, I rolled my eyes in disgust. Get out. Robert froze for a moment. He seemed surprised by my attitude, his face growing colder. It seems you haven't reflected properly. Sarah, you've disappointed me greatly. Jessica was right. You're just spoiled and unreasonable. Robert was acting like my boyfriend but didn't even see the bandage wrapped around my arm. I questioned my judgment for the 100th time. How could I have fallen for a man like this? It was truly ridiculous. And utterly pointless. Too lazy to deal with him, I threw my medical report at him. Robert, right? I was in a car accident and hit my head. I have amnesia and don't remember you. So now, get out of my house immediately. Got it? Robert didn't believe me at all. He sneered at me. Stop it. This joke isn't funny. You can even invent a lie about amnesia on the spot. I really misjudged you. You just want me to grovel and beg for forgiveness, huh? Don't push your luck. But when he saw the medical report I'd thrown, his perpetually indifferent expression finally cracked. His trembling eyes showed panic. No, this isn't possible. Sal, you really don't remember me? Could it be that call, that night? As if he realized something, he cut himself off, stumbling backward, his body swaying. Then he half squatted, clutching his face in pain, as if he'd suffered a huge blow. I'm sorry, I really didn't know. I thought it was nothing. Robert quickly walked up to me, tentatively reaching out a hand. Sal, please forgive me. This time I was wrong. Give me a chance to make amends. It's just partial amnesia. It should recover. Don't be afraid. I'll help you remember. He looked genuinely regretful, as if the sky had fallen, declaring undying love. But looking at him, I only felt ridiculous. The medical report clearly stated, just a few more minutes. I could have bled to death in the wilderness. Robert, this indirect killer, had the nerve to show his face like this. I looked at him mockingly. You were capable of hanging up my emergency call. What makes you think anything is impossible for you? Robert stood frozen. His face was filled with disbelief. As if I shouldn't have spoken to him so harshly. After a long pause, he sighed dejectedly. I'm sorry, Sal, I'm really sorry. I didn't expect this to happen. I just quietly watched Robert. Robert, you're being pathetic. You're the one who hung up the phone and almost got me killed. Putting on this lovesick act now, doesn't it hurt your face? Robert's face suddenly turned pale. He looked at me, his lips moving, but he couldn't say a word. But no matter how much I urged or hinted, he wouldn't leave. He kept saying that once I remembered everything, I would understand. Sal, when you remember, you'll regret it. I was getting more and more annoyed by his persistence. Physical therapy was already tiring and painful. Now the culprit was still blabbering. I felt none of that supposed love I had before, only intense disgust. Are you deaf? I told you to get out. I clicked my tongue in irritation. I have absolutely no feelings for you now, let alone the fact that you almost killed me. After all, you don't actually think there's still a chance for us, do you? I'm being generous. Let's just end things here. The next second, Robert looked as if he'd been struck by lightning, displaying a pained expression. A strange sense of satisfaction suddenly surged in my heart. I truly had no special feelings for Robert now, but the hurt buried deep in my heart seemed to linger. Carrying that sense of pleasure, I spoke again. Besides, during this amnesia, I only forgot you. That just proves you weren't important to me in the first place. Don't flatter yourself. I licked my lips, my eyes filled with malice, returning his words exactly. Enough, Robert. Can you stop bothering me? Be reasonable. Robert looked as if he'd been struck by lightning. He stood completely frozen, as if his soul had left his body. He clenched his jaw, showing a pained expression. Watching him, I felt no ripple of emotion in my heart. I even thought Robert was just faking it, which was frankly laughable. What good was pain and regret now? If it hadn't been for the kind fisherman passing by, he'd be crying over my grave right now. Who would have positive feelings for someone who almost got them killed? I'm not a masochist. Looking at the stunned man in front of me, a wave of annoyance washed over me. Just as I was getting frustrated about how to get rid of him, Emily came back. She even brought my favorite cookies. But when she saw Robert, the smile on her face instantly vanished. Well, what wind blew our busy Robert here? She spoke sarcastically, scanning him up and down, her eyes full of coldness. You, the murderer who almost killed Sal, have the nerve to show up? You're absolutely shameless. Robert's face turned cold. It was just an accident. Besides, I already apologized. Ugh, that really takes the cake. Emily had been holding back for a long time and couldn't anymore. You think a flimsy "I'm sorry" can fix everything? Dream on. Do you have any idea Sal was in the ER all night? They practically replaced all her blood. If she hadn't been brought in time, she'd be dead. She must have done something terrible in a past life to meet you. Get as far away from here as possible. Wanting to keep one foot in and one foot out, trying to have it all? What do you think my Sal is? Get out! You're not welcome here. Emily stepped to the side, blocking me, glaring at him. Robert pursed his lips tightly. He turned to me, his tone displeased. Is this how you let your friend insult me? Well, what else? I glanced at him strangely. You said it yourself, Em is my best friend. Shouldn't I side with and support my best friend, instead of listening to someone who almost killed me? I didn't say the rest out loud, but my expression said it all. Robert stiffened, opening his mouth to say something, but ultimately lowering his head dejectedly. Emily seized the chance to kick him out. She turned back, earnestly cautioning me. Don't go soft. If you get tricked by that scumbag's sweet talk again, I'll get you a new brain. She puffed out her cheeks, waiting for my response. She looked fierce, but she was the one who genuinely cared about me. I relaxed my brow and smiled, agreeing. Okay, I'll listen to you. My injuries slowly healed. It was about half a month later. During this time, Robert often appeared in front of me. With a look of suppressed complexity, he'd say he wanted to help me remember everything. He annoyed me endlessly. Can you stop showing up in front of me? Do you not understand the word go away? Don't you have your own things to do? Like that stupid project? Do I need to repeat word for word how you complained on the phone about me bothering you? Robert's face went from dark to pale, and finally, he fled in a panic. I was complete. Fed up with being ambushed. I packed some simple clothes and moved to Emily's place. It was during this move I accidentally opened a tablet I used for streaming shows. The account logged in belonged to Robert. When I was blind, he was my nominal boyfriend, so borrowing it was probably normal. I muttered to myself, then swiped and opened it. The chat history that popped up unexpectedly stung my eyes. Robert's top contact wasn't me. His note for me was just a cold, businesslike Sarah. It showed absolutely no trace of affection. Even more disheartening was my side of the conversation, like a clown performing. Me, Rob, I found a great Italian place. Wanna go tonight? Me, a few movies just came out. I got tickets. Me, look at this little orange cat. Doesn't it look like the one we saw when we first met? It was practically our matchmaker. Me, Rob, we haven't been on a date in a while. Are you really busy with the project? You should take care of yourself. The weather's getting colder, don't rush things, eat on time, otherwise I'll be worried sick. Me, Rob, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were busy today. Me, I saw Jessica feeding you, and I felt a little bad. I won't be jealous anymore. Me, I know I was wrong. I'm sorry. Me, please don't ignore me. Me, Rob, just pick up the phone. I'll be good and reasonable from now on. My finger swiped the page, my eyes staring blankly. After the accident, Emily, afraid I'd fall back into that relationship, completely erased everything about Robert from my phone. Plus, after the amnesia, I had no memory of Robert. The so-called relationship had no substance in my mind. But now, even without a single memory in my brain, I could clearly see that these white chat bubbles were filled with my genuine feelings. From shy happiness to endless anxiety, finally descending into self-doubt. Complex, mixed emotions raged through me. I felt like I was watching a girl holding her phone, cautiously waiting for a response from the person she liked. But in reality, I looked at the green chat bubbles on the other side. They were always just a few brief, cold, distant lines. Okay, got it, busy, don't bother me, be reasonable. Robert must have deleted some chat history. What I could see only covered a short half-month period. But according to Emily, we had been dating for a year and a half. The chat page was my solo performance, while his responses were like a blank sheet of paper. Yet, his attitude towards someone else was completely different. I reached out and clicked on his chat page with Jessica. That was a completely different attitude. Jessica had joined Robert's project group a year ago. But Robert had never deleted their chat history. Robert contacted Jessica frequently. He would share project work with her, research data together, stay up all night in the lab together without complaining. They had endless project topics to discuss, their interests were extremely similar, and they could even follow each other's train of thought on a corny old joke. They seemed like a perfect match, each other's muse. Even when Jessica complained, "I'm so clumsy, I didn't bring an umbrella today," Robert would lightheartedly tease back, "At least you're self-aware." Then he'd gentlemanly escort her home. That same night, I was also working a part-time job. When I was about to head home, I found my bag had been stolen. The umbrella I had prepared was also gone, leaving only my phone. It was rush hour, and getting a taxi was difficult. Helpless, I messaged Robert, but it went unanswered. It wasn't until late at night, when I walked 2 hours home soaked, that I received a late, indifferent text. "I'm busy. Figure it out yourself." I carefully compared the timestamps on the chat history, a sarcastic smile on my face. At the exact same time, he was busy with his so-called junior. And even a bland message to me was late. I didn't have those painful, heart-wrenching memories. But looking at the dense chat history, I couldn't help but feel a surge of resentment. It was as if I saw my past self, trapped day and night in a painful, entangled relationship. The messages were filled with cautious anxiety. Loving someone is like loving a flower. The me who constantly apologized was slowly wilting. If it hadn't been for this accident and the amnesia, I probably would have lost all vitality soon. How did Robert have the nerve to call himself my boyfriend? So when Robert called again, I hung up without hesitation. And I completely blocked him. Heaven must have seen how much I was suffering and given me a second chance. Yesterday was death. I wouldn't fall into the same trap again. The blood clot behind my brain was still a potential time bomb. But the doctor said the location was tricky, and unless it was a major issue, they generally preferred not to operate. When Emily heard this, she said, "Don't worry, I've got a plan." She said she had a doctor friend who came back from overseas, specializing in brain research, who might be able to help with my condition. At the restaurant, Emily nudged me, winking playfully. "Sal, this guy is 6 feet 2 inches, looks lean in clothes and muscular without. You wanna maybe find a date?" Hard pass. I glared at her exasperatedly. Men are just obstacles to my progress. Emily frowned. "You're not still hung up on that scumbag Robert, are you?" Me? Enough. You're going to make me sick. I couldn't be bothered. "Can you please stop being disgusting?" Afraid she'd say something else outrageous, I quickly grabbed a pastry from the table, intending to stuff it in her mouth. As soon as I reached out my arm, someone stopped me. "Emily doesn't like red bean flavor." I froze, looking up, and saw a tall man standing in front of me. Before I could react, Emily jumped up, excitedly slapping his shoulder. "Daniel, you finally made it. Here, this is my best friend, Sarah." "Hello." I stood up and greeted him. The man in front of me smiled politely. "Daniel, Emily's childhood friend. There's that connection?" I subconsciously glanced at Emily. She laughed openly. "Stop flattering yourself. It's follower, okay? Sal, don't look at this guy now, all big and tall. When he was little, he was skinny as a chicken. If I hadn't stepped in, the other kids would have bullied him to death." Emily rattled off Daniel's past embarrassing stories to me. He looked helpless, but his eyes were always gentle. Ah, it seems Emily is the one who should be looking for a date. Just as I was about to get into gossip mode, I was suddenly shoved with unexpected force, stumbling towards the large vase beside me. Daniel was closest to me and quickly steadied me, preventing another trip to the hospital. I let out a small sigh of relief, about to thank him properly. Then a snide voice came from behind me. Well, isn't this Sarah? Having dinner with another man late at night? Is this how you treat Robert?" Instantly, everyone in the restaurant turned to look at me. I turned around. I saw a young woman with a ponytail. A very unfamiliar face, someone I shouldn't know. But her sweet voice was too distinctive. I had heard it more than once on that emergency call. "Jessica." In front of me, Jessica stood with her hands on her hips, her face full of indignation. "Do you have any idea how badly you've hurt Robert? Because of you, he's been distracted lately, barely coming to the lab. This will hold up the project. That's the result of his hard work for over half a year, Sarah. Have some conscience," she shouted righteously, as if she were truly on the side of justice. CE. For a moment, I received many accusing glares filled with contempt. Emily heard this and completely exploded. She rolled up her sleeves, ready to charge over, but I held her back. "It's okay, don't worry. I can handle this." Giving her a reassuring look, I calmly glanced at Jessica in front of me. "So, in what capacity are you lecturing me? Robert's so-called lab junior? Or the mistress who covets someone else's boyfriend and stirs up trouble?" Jessica's face instantly turned pale. After a long pause, she scoffed, forcing a brave front. "Sarah, don't say such ugly things. I do have feelings for Robert." "So what? Is it wrong to be attracted to someone excellent?" "Stop slandering me. We have a pure academic relationship. It's not as sordid as you think." Jessica put on a righteous expression. Someone who didn't know might even think she was a good girl enduring and stepping aside for love. But would a good girl chat with someone late at night about being lonely and unable to sleep, asking them to tell stories to lull her to sleep? Would a good girl, knowing someone had a girlfriend, want to play a game of passing paper with their mouths? Would a good girl, under the guise of being drunk, confess to someone and say ambiguous and explicit things like "I like you, I want to give you my first time"? Good girl isn't taking credit for this, thanks. Looking at Jessica, still putting on an act, I just thought it was laughable. Jessica, I may have amnesia, but I'm not stupid. All those chat logs between you and Robert are saved on my tablet. Do you need me to print them out and send them to your school so everyone can see and appreciate your excellent performance as a green tea? Jessica was a graduate student. University campuses highly valued conduct and character. If her affair were exposed, she definitely wouldn't be able to stay in the lab she cared so much about. She might even get academic penalties and be expelled. If I didn't make good use of such clear leverage, it would be a disservice to her audacity. Sure enough, when I laid it all out, Jessica's face instantly turned white. Her lipstick mouth opened and closed, but after waiting for a long time, she couldn't utter a single word. How boring. I frowned impatiently. Now Robert and I have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Your secret crush or whatever is none of my business. If you bother me again, what I just said won't just be a warning. I said coldly, don't think everyone is like you, with a preference for recycling garbage. A used man, I find him disgusting. As soon as I finished speaking, I felt something was wrong behind me. I turned around and was met with Robert's stiff face. My gaze dropped, and I noticed he was holding a bouquet of roses. After some thought, I came to a conclusion, looking up at the two frozen figures in front of me. Oh, so you two are together now. Congratulations, wishing you a long and happy life together. Scumbags and their accomplices deserve to be stuck together forever, so they don't ruin anyone else. Sal, don't say that. Robert swayed, a clear flicker of panic and pain in his eyes. You're mistaken. Jessica and I don't have any extra relationship. Hearing that, Jessica's face turned even paler than before. I said oh expressionlessly. What did I care? But clearly, Robert misunderstood. He thought I believed his so-called explanation, and a look of joy flashed across his face. He took a step forward, offering me the bouquet of roses, cautiously saying, "Today is our anniversary. I specially prepared this surprise for you." Before he could finish, I quickly stepped back 2 paces, covering my nose with my hand. Robert, you haven't forgotten the medical report, have you? I have amnesia. I've completely forgotten you. After all this, you think I'd still celebrate an anniversary with you? You think a bit too highly of yourself, don't you? I lifted the corner of my mouth in a mocking smile. My gaze met Robert's pained expression. Also, I have pollen allergies. And you're still trying to give me flowers. Your so-called surprise is truly worthless. Meeting his increasingly pale face, I felt incredibly satisfied. You want me to forgive you? It's simple. Experience everything I went through. Robert, you should also try the feeling of lying there unable to move, wanting desperately to live, but only being able to watch your life drain away little by little. Robert's retreating figure looked utterly dejected. As if he'd been instantly drained. He walked stiffly and listlessly, as if he might collapse at any moment. Jessica followed closely behind, her exquisite face full of worry. She tentatively tried to support Robert but was violently pushed away by him. Get out! His tone was icy cold. Jessica couldn't bear it and ran away, crying. Just when I thought I'd have a couple of quiet days, Robert started bothering me again. He somehow found out my new address and waited outside my building every day, lovesick. The first time I ran into him, he handed me a heartfelt love letter. Sal, everything you wanted before, I can do for you now. My response was to tear it into pieces right in front of him. Robert was silent, the light in his eyes gradually dimming. The second time, I saw his passionate confession to me displayed on the largest screen in the city's shopping mall. The third time, he waited punctually at my door, carrying a handful of Band-Aids and a homemade lunch he'd made himself. The 10th time, it was pouring rain that night, thunder rumbling, and he stubbornly waited downstairs, soaked to the bone, but refusing to leave. I watched him silently, my heart completely unmoved. Robert's actions now were Early the same passionate feelings I had for him back then. When I moved to my new place, I found a journal in the nightstand. It was filled with dense records of a young girl's budding love. The entries stopped 3 days before my accident. Rob is getting busier lately. It feels like we're talking less and less. But I believe once we get through this, the future will be bright. That was me, full of conviction back then. In the blink of an eye, I almost lost my life. I'm not that foolish. I won't go soft, ever. But clearly, someone else was the first to feel heartbroken and couldn't take it anymore. When Jessica came looking for me again, her face was drawn and tired, her eyes red and swollen. Her gaze was full of hatred. "Sarah, do you have to destroy Robert? He was the most promising talent in our project group. You've completely ruined him. I knew from the start I wasn't wrong about you. A selfish, narrow-minded person like you doesn't deserve Robert." I was expressionless. Why should I care? "You, Jessica, I sometimes really admire your nerve." I calmly folded my arms across my chest, saying each word clearly. "Let's get something straight. Robert is the one bothering me now. I'm already annoyed enough. I don't have time to deal with you. Please get lost." Lately, because of Robert's actions, my peaceful life had been seriously affected. I had a belly full of anger with nowhere to vent. Jessica had the poor judgment to run into me like this, so she shouldn't blame me for striking back. That night, I went home, printed out all those chat logs, and sent them to Jessica's advisor. Then I blocked every possible way anyone could contact me. All I knew was that when I left for another city on a business trip, I received a gloating voice message from Emily. She said Jessica had been asked to leave their group by her advisor and had a disciplinary record. Whether she could graduate smoothly was now uncertain. "Sal, that was brilliant. When you get back, let's celebrate with a big feast." While I was away on business in another city, I suddenly received an unknown call late at night. I was puzzled, but when I answered, there was no sound on the other end. Only heavy breathing remained. I was originally completely bewildered, but it wasn't until the police showed up that I learned the call was from Robert. That night, it was raining heavily, and Robert was driving while tired and got into a car accident. His last call before he lost consciousness was to me, and the police contacted me as a matter of routine. It was also from the police that I learned Robert was severely injured. His brakes had slipped, and he hit a tree head-on. The front of the car was damaged, and his hands were trapped. After being rushed to the ER, they barely managed to save his hands. But the irreversible nerve damage meant he could never work in the beloved field of experimental science again. I hadn't expected it. That one malicious thought I had vented internally had come true. But this, what did it have to do with me? So when the police relayed Robert's wish to see me, I calmly refused. If I could, I never wanted to see him again in my life. When I came out of the police station, I saw Emily and Daniel waiting for me at the entrance. Emily was furious. "That cursed Robert. Even when he gets into trouble, he has to drag Sal down with him. We need to find a place to get rid of some bad luck when we get back." She bounced ahead, holding her phone, looking things up. I followed slowly behind, until Daniel walked up beside me at some point, lowering his voice. "Sarah, you actually regained your memory a while ago, didn't you? I checked your latest follow-up report." I looked at him and nodded calmly. Yes, I had actually regained my memory a while ago. The moment I woke up from the hospital bed, my mind was hazy and confused, and I had indeed forgotten some memories. But during subsequent physical therapy, I had gradually recovered. Hitting my head and precisely forgetting one specific person. That only happens in melodramatic novels. In fact, the moment Robert saw me, I remembered him. But so what? I had amnesia. I was faking it. I'm not a magnanimous saint. Is it wrong to pretend not to remember someone who hurt me? As for what happened afterward, that was all Robert's own doing. Betrayers don't deserve a good ending. Seeing this, Daniel raised an eyebrow at me. Don't worry, I won't say anything. I readily accepted and returned the favor. I'll tell you a secret. Emily prefers guys with a stronger personality. Hope to hear some good news from you too soon. Daniel was startled, then showed a rare, genuine smile. Thanks. I watched him catch up to Emily in a few strides, and they started playfully bickering. Barring any accidents, I should be eating my best friend's wedding cake soon.